Good morning, everybody. How you doing here? Welcome to the show. Good to have you here. It's Wednesday, Feb 22nd, 2023, 0223 I guess. Welcome, all of you, to the show. It's Bruce here, Stock Markets with Bruce. We try to cover the markets in plain English, and we try to stay on top of these profits by hauling in money, by having viewers write stock options, and bring in those premiums and say, thank you very much. May I have another? That is going to continue, and it's going to do rather nicely for a bunch of you here. The premiums will keep coming in, and you will be rewarded for your patience. Since you're holding stock anyway, you might as well be paid to hold it. And many of you are figuring out that, wow, I can get paid a lot of money to hold my stock, where in the past years I held it, I got nothing for it. Now I'm getting some serious dough here. This is okay, especially those of you who are averaging down your portfolio costs, those who are increasing your portfolio size, those of you who are trying to grow your retirement accounts, grow your book values, those of you who are trying to grow cash flow, to try to quit your day jobs. There's a lot of reasons you want to be an option writer, and this market is perfect for you. Thank you for joining me. We're up 70 points on the Dow at the moment in the pre-market, and we're up 8 on S&P, and we're up 35 on NASDAQ. But combined, we're talking 1/5 of a percentage point to maybe 0.3 of a percentage point. That's it. That there's nothing happening here on the recovery side. The Dow lost 700 yesterday, and there is no serious recovery happening this morning, which begs the question, is this a dead cat bounce? Might we get a 100, 200 point dead cat bounce to start the morning and then lose it all and be lower again? That is very possible. We could have another lower day today. There is no economic news coming out that is making people go, oh, it's great. Oh, stocks are going to go to the moon. There is any of that coming out. Intel this morning dropped the bomb on the market. This is a Dow 30 component, if I recall. They announced a 2/3 cut in their dividend. This is a big deal. For those of you who don't own the stock and are not familiar, Intel has been a dividend payer, a cash machine for decades for pension funds, hedge funds, mutual funds, ETFs. These so-called high yield mutual funds or high dividend paying funds, they rely on Intel for cash, while 2/3 of the cash coming out every quarter is gone. It used to yield, as of last night, 5.8% yield. Now it's 1.85% yield. Simple reason: the company's sales are dropping, their market share is dropping. They're frantically trying to reinvent themselves. They're building new plant in Ohio with U.S. government help, and I think they're building in Arizona as well. And so 3 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road, they'll be around forever, but they're going to reset first, take a step back, and then move forward. They're cutting their spending by 8 to 10 billion a year for the next 3 years. That means R&D might be in trouble too. We'll see how this all comes out. The stock is down fractionally at the moment because it's already been beat up quite heavily. But this is a sign. My title today: bonds versus cash equals easy money for option writers. Look, you don't have to fear upside of this market. You do not have to fear upside of any one stock tripling in price because there's a mother of all short squeeze coming. There's a massive reason to jump into the market because everyone missed the obvious sign of greatness that's in front of us. Now, we are faced with several years yet of a tough market, tough economy, and this is going to be most interesting. We did notice that I am noticing that retailers that specialize in discount pricing are doing well, and that is bad news because when retailers who specialize in discounts are the winners, that means that the middle class retailers and the high enders are not doing too well. And there can be occasionally a gap in the middle where the high end retailers are doing great, the low end retailers are doing great, and that massive middle is getting crushed. That's bad news because that means for the average consumer out there and average income earner, times aren't great. And it's forcing people who would normally like to shop at certain shopping malls and whatever to now go to places they don't generally want to go to make ends meet. Well, welcome to the life of the poor, and this is the middle class of North America and Europe getting squeezed from all angles regarding their cash flows. Look, inflation is a killer. It's an absolute income killer. It is a lifestyle killer, and it is an investment killer. It really takes the steam out of high flying stocks. It really takes the steam out of looking for growth stocks as a whole, and it stops fresh investment from being made into new companies that want to really come out both barrels blazing. I'm happy about the fact that we started talking to each other on this channel January 2021, 2 years and a month ago, and that shortly after I went live every day back then, many of you were asking me, well, other than GameStop that you talk about all the time and giving us the update on that, what other stocks would you recommend we follow and we like? And I rattled off a number of blue chip companies, and I started rattling off some companies that I thought had potential going down the road, which at that time were known as SPACs. Well, thankfully, every single SPAC that I recommended, 8 of them, they're no longer SPACs. They're now former SPACs. These are now 8 separate individual publicly traded companies. They're not under the SPAC umbrella anymore. They can't be picked on by the SEC because they're still a company looking for a deal. They've passed all those metrics, and they are many quarters into being actual public corporations. Today, one of them will report after the hours, Matterport. Matterport announces tonight after the bell how they are doing. The company is worth about $1 billion if you look at its market cap, and they have cash and short-term investments on hand of over 400 million. I think it's closer to $500 million. So this company is half liquid, and their total debt is something like 45 or $50 million. Like that's their obligations. They don't have loans per se. They have suppliers they owe money to, and the typical turnover stuff. It's a joke. 90% of the company's value is in effect in cash. It's phenomenal. Anyway, it's a $1 billion market cap with a $500 million value. This is a well-funded outfit that is growing its business. I'm looking forward to the earnings tonight. Day after tomorrow, the 24th, so in 2 days, Friday, ATIP reports, and we're all waiting for ATIP to speak. And what is their plan? What is their progress report? How are they doing with physiotherapy openings now that COVID has dropped off the front pages and we are back to more of a normal existence? How is this impacting ATIP's ability to hire people, to attract talent, grow its numbers, treat more patients? I'm quite eager to hear about this. Rocket Lab in 6 days, the 28th, will come out with their numbers. I'm looking forward to hearing about that, of course. And then SmartRent on March the 8th is the other SPAC we're waiting on. This is another cash-rich company sitting on a ton of money and a growing business as well. We'll watch for all of that. So we've got those 4 already kind of lining up, and we'll stay on top of many other earnings that are coming out. This morning, as I said, the markets are off a little bit. The competition right now, as far as my headline goes, bonds, cash, stocks, where does money go? Pension funds, hedge funds, mutual funds, ETFs. So many of these entities, the vast majority of them, are basically surviving and are part of their business model, I really should say, part of their business model is cash coming in the front door every day. If you're a worker at a large corporation, or you're working for you're a teacher, you're a firefighter, you have a pension plan that you're part of, you're likely part of a very, very large pension plan, billions of dollars under administration, and rightfully so, because if you're a teacher, say in California, that pension plan is handling, uh, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of retired teachers with millions of existing teachers teaching. I'm not sure what the numbers are, but they are staggering. And so billions have to be under admin to survive, to be doing what it's supposed to do. You can go back to the 50s and the 60s and the 70s and look at the size of pension funds back then and go, oh, wow, look at that. This pension fund is so much larger now. Yeah, it's true. But back then there were so many fewer members of the pension plan. And it was a much newer thing. Whereas today, pension plans are pretty mature. They've been around for generations of employees. It's not uncommon where teachers today are grandchildren of teachers that originally started investing in the pension plan way back in the 50s and 60s and so on. This is the circle of life that that doesn't stop. And so these pension plans have to support the pensioners, and of course have to grow for current employees who are going to become pensioners. The pension has to be waiting for them when they get to that retirement age. Well, every month, every pay period, money comes in the front door of these funds that have to be invested and put to work. Money goes out the door from pension funds as well, but money also comes in. And the trick of the pension fund business is to have more coming in as members get older and more members join up. The thinking had always been, the population will always increase. There will always be more children to educate, so we'll always need more teachers. We're always going to need more firemen. We're always going to need more police officers. We're always going to need more of various types of employees. So these funds have to grow for the future needs of the fund, and they do grow, and they do bring cash in every month, and more comes in than goes out. This money has to go somewhere. This fresh cash has got to go to work, and pension fund managers are charged with very conservatively managing this money, but also they're told, and they have to keep their eye on maybe thousands of different type of investments at all times. And so you will see from time to time, depending on where you live in North America, you might find that you're driving by a construction site where there's a 20-story building being built, along with a bit of a strip mall type thing, all being developed. And there's signage all around it as to what this is. And you'll notice that there's the architect name and the engineer's name. And then you see the bankers, and then you see partners. And you might find, oh, the California Teachers Pension Fund is a partner in this. Or in Canada, you might go, oh, the Ontario Teachers Pension Fund is this. Or the Government of Canada Pension Plan, the entire Canadian public's pension plan is investing in this thing. And it's possible that these funds each own 5 or 10 or 20% of this project, and they're funding it. And their plan is to be a stakeholder in this development for 20, 30 years. And after 20 years, 30 years, they might sell out their ownership for a nice profit, reinvest that money into the next project, and just keep growing the plan. As this project cash flowed out, paid dividends, paid returns, and now they have a capital gain. Today, a pension plan is bringing in, 10 million a day, 100 million a week, whatever the number is. Where do you put the money? And this is the question. Where does fresh cash go? And where does existing cash go? For those investors out there who don't have fresh cash coming in, they have existing investments. Where do you keep your money working for you that gives you the best return? And these pension funds, hedge funds, mutual funds, and everything else, institutional investors I'm talking about, with trillions and trillions to manage, are looking at 2-year treasury notes going, geez, I can buy a 2-year treasury. I can buy one. I can buy, you got to understand this, every week, just like with options that come out every week, the United States government issues bonds and treasuries almost every week. So a 2-year treasury note, there isn't just one of them. There are 2-year treasury notes that expire every week for the next 2 years. So if you shop around and go, oh, wow, I can get one that expires in 6 months. If I buy that yield right now, I buy that treasury bond right now, that treasury bill will yield me 4.8% between now and maturity on an annualized basis. So if it's got 6 months to go, I'm going to make 2.4% on my money on top of my principal if I hold it for 6 months. There are pension plans and life insurance companies with oodles of cash that need to generate money, knowing that, well, in 6 months, we need $100 million for a payout of whatever proportion. But in the meantime, we should have that $100 million do something. Well, let's put $100 million into this 10-year note that has 6 months to go. It'll add to the pot $2.4 million. There'll be $1,240,000 in that account with that treasury note maturing out. And we need 100 million of it for whatever disbursements, and 2.4 million will go back into the pot to be reinvested. There you go. Now, between now and at that point in time, another 300 million of cash is coming in, and that we have to put to work as well. Where do you put the money? Do you put it into stocks? Do you put it into treasury notes? Do you put it into currencies, derivatives, precious metals? Do you put it into real estate? What do you do with the dough? And the massive computer systems that these outfits have are spitting out constant updates to the managers saying, this Friday, you're going to need to cut checks to 200,000 pensioners. You're going to be bringing in money from 400,000 working people. And here's the net result of it all. This week, you're issuing more money out than you're bringing in. And then for the next 3 weeks, you're bringing more money in than you're pushing out. And this is constantly being adjusted at all times. And the computers are constantly saying to the fund, you're going to collect dividends from this company, this company, this company, this company. You're going to collect payouts from the sale of that project and the reorganization of that project. But you're also on the hook for coughing up money to buy into this one. You make commitments to do this and this and that. It is a very complicated business. And it's all done behind the facade of a big office building somewhere with lovely landscape grounds around it, birds chirping in the background. And inside those walls and those all those floors, there are people who are under unbearable pressure to deliver a return. And this is the business. And this is just, there are hundreds of thousands of these around the world, pension plan operators everywhere. And so when you ask professional market observers, what do you think is happening in the market? Some of the folks are saying, well, I happen to know 5 or 10 or 15 pension fund managers. I know a guy in this fund who's an expert in real estate. I know someone in that mutual fund in New York that's an expert in corporate bonds. I know an expert money manager in London that follows equities. And these 3 people are part of pension funds that represent $4 trillion. And I can get a gauge from them. And I talk to them all the time. We share notes. We chat on text. And whenever I'm in London, I have a coffee with this person. Whenever I'm in New York, I've got a coffee with that one. And whenever I'm in LA, I have a coffee with that person. And whenever they come to my town on their fact-finding missions, they catch up with me and they want to know from me what I think is going on. I want to know from them what they think is going on. And then we try to figure where this market is headed, because the market is emotion. And the stock market averages, the Dow, the NASDAQ, the S&P, and others, are a gauge of the future. What do we think the future is going to be? And as of now, we have got a lot of institutional investors thinking twice about getting into the stock market. One of the other reasons they're not jumping into the stock market is one, of course, being higher yields that they can get elsewhere. The second one is, well, the Federal Reserve is raising interest rates while at the same time they are taking money out of the market, because the Federal Reserve of the United States, the Bank of Canada, the Bank of England, the ECB in Europe, and the Bank of Japan, all these bankers, central banker, country bankers that were buying up bonds to keep interest rates down for over a decade, are now selling bonds to raise cash, to cancel cash, shrink the money supply. And the Treasury of the United States was long $10 billion of bonds. They put $10 trillion into the money markets to keep interest rates low. So when the United States government was raising money, the United States government over here was buying a third of those bonds, half of those bonds. Only half the bonds the United States government was offering for sale was available to pension funds, mutual funds, hedge funds, and everybody else, which meant there was a competition to get bonds into portfolios to make money from it. The problem was that people were buying 5-year bonds, 10-year bonds, 30-year bonds, and getting 1.5%, 2% interest. Inflation was 1.5%, 2% 5 years ago. Yields were 1.5%, 2% 5 years ago. That means pension funds made no money putting money into bonds. It meant average investors also had a problem. You putting money into a mutual fund that buys government bonds, your mutual fund isn't making you any money. It can't make money. How is it going to make you money? It doesn't make you money. So now you're buying into corporate bond mutual funds. Those are the funds that were lending money to car companies, computer companies, manufacturers around the world, and they paid a higher interest rate because they're not governments. They don't get to borrow at a government rate. A little riskier, but a higher yield. Now, today, what do we have going on? Governments are having to pay a higher yield for money. The Fed and all the other central bankers are not gobbling up half the bonds. So all the bonds being issued are going into the bond market, which gives pension funds all kinds of choices to buy into bonds. Yes. The problem is that the higher the yields go, the lower the value of the bond becomes, especially all the outstanding bonds that were issued 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years. Those 10 years of $20 trillion of bonds that were issued for the last 10 years have all gone down in value because the yields on those bonds have gone up to match the current interest rate environment. So if you put $1 million or $10 million into US bonds 5 years ago, that bond might be down by 20% in value. It's only worth $8 million from $10 million. You're down $2 million on the US government note. And you're locked in at the interest rate you bought it at back then. 2% interest. Hey, you're only getting $200,000 a year interest for the next 5 years. That's $1 million you're going to get. And your bond is at $8 million right now. Now, here's the good news. When the bond matures, you get your $10 million back. But in 5 years from now, that $10 million you get back isn't worth what $10 million was worth 10 years ago. It's worth, inflation adjusted, $7 million, $6.5 million. Inflation is killing bond returns. And pension funds and hedge funds and all these outfits are struggling to get higher yields to offset losses in their bonds. In other words, the competition for money is fierce. Stocks out there are trying to say to investors, hey, our company's growing. We're doing more sales. We're cutting costs. We're letting people go. We're cost competitive. We've cut dividends if we have to. We'll cut spending. We want to improve our bottom line profit, so you don't have to sell our shares. The shareholders, the potential buyers of these shares, are going, well, nice to hear all that, but you know what? I can buy into an ETF that has 50 different stocks that might have your stock in it, but they might have dumped your stock because you guys are in trouble. You are losing market share. I'm putting my money where the returns are and where the performance is. And so here goes this game of Intel needing to raise cash to grow their business and investors not wanting to put cash into the money, perhaps, to help them grow their business. And there's that problem. And if Intel goes to the bond market, for example, to raise $5 billion to build out a plant in Austin, Texas, 2 years ago, they could have borrowed money at 2%. Today, it might cost them 7%. Oops, you're competing with the US government for money at higher rates, and you aren't going to get a 4% yield or 5% cost like the US government. You might have to pay 7 or 8 or 9 or 10%. Higher risk. This is all going on all at the same time. Option writers, enjoy your returns, because you're offering hopes, dreams, and greatness to gamblers out there who are looking for a break, and they want to buy options where they think they can get a lottery ticket to success, a shortcut to success. I can buy calls on GameStop or on Apple or on Tesla or whatever options you're writing options, stock options on. They're thinking short term. They're thinking 1 to 6 months from now that the stock that you own, or the deep in the money calls of stock you own, that these shares will go up in value dramatically. And they want to be a part of that win. And they're prepared to gamble $500 a contract, $350 a contract, $450 a contract, whatever it is. They're prepared to gamble that much for the next 6 months. Oh, there are some investors out there who've got 10 grand that they're willing to put on the table, hoping they can turn 10 into 50 in the next year. That's what they're looking for. It's what they need. And they're taking the long, hard gamble for a turnaround. And they're wondering, will GameStop go from 2079, where it is right now, to 3079 in the next 3-4 months? If it were to do that, if GameStop went up $10 a share in the next 2 months, anybody with a $20 contract is going to go, yay, I made money, because my $20 contract is now $10 in the money. Hey, I made some bucks. Now, you buy a $25 contract right now, you need the stock to get to 25 just to have an even value on your contract versus the stock. You're still not making money. You have it go to 30, you might take your $2 contract and turn it into a $4 contract, or a 4 to a 6 or something like that. Who knows? Very, very long odds for success. This is where option writers sit back and go, I know that. These folks who are buying my contracts that I am selling for top freaking dollar right now, they haven't got a hope in hell of making money on my contract. There's just no damn way. If you're giving me $455 for a $23 GameStop contract that expires in June or July, there's no way you're going to make money. They're going to be lucky to break even. And the only way they break even between now and June or July is if the stock does go up to $23 to $25, because a $23 contract that you can sell for $450, you're getting $27.50 if you're exercised. They need the stock to go to $26, $27 for the contract to be worth what they paid for it. There's such long odds to any success for these folks, and yet they're willing to gamble it. And so you got to take the money. You have to take the money. If you're able to take the money and buy additional call options, deep in the money calls, write some more, fabulous. If you're using this strategy as a way to quit your day job, fabulous. Using this as a strategy to enhance your retirement account like a pension fund manager would do, fabulous. Do not think that Apple shares are being used for option premium as well. They are. Apple shares, Intel shares, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, you name any large Dow 30 component company, any of the big S&P 500s, all of these shares held by all of these thousands of institutions around the world, they're all writing call options on those positions to get paid rent. They're getting paid rent to hold these stocks. Because after all, if you're a pension fund and you put $1 billion into Apple stock or $1 billion into U.S. Treasuries, the U.S. Treasury will give you 4.8% on a 2-year note. Why should you have $1 billion in Apple and get a 1% yield on its dividend? That's all you're going to get. Apple doesn't pay much in dividends. You need higher income from Apple. Forget the value of the stock or the value of the bond. We're talking yield return on your money. Well, they are writing call options on their Apple positions, and they're not satisfied to bring in 4.8% per year, because that just equals a treasury note that you get for doing nothing. You just give the government $1 billion, and 6 months later or a year later, you got $1 billion plus 1 billion plus 4.8%. Apple has to generate double that from yields, from premiums on options. And every hedge fund knows it. Every pension manager knows it. Every massive ETF manager knows it. And you know it. Now you know it. And so the question is, will Apple double in price in the next 6 months? Will it go up 30% in the next 6 months? Or is Apple going to be around 140, 150, 160? Is it going to be around this kind of range here? My guess is, yeah, that's kind of where I think it's going to be, because this market doesn't have the legs to go to the stratosphere. Too much money is being sucked out of the economy by the Federal Reserves of the world, who are blowing back bonds every week back into the market that they bought 10 years ago all the way to a year ago. So tightening of the money supply makes it harder and harder, which means more gamblers are going to show up on the casino floor on the option market. The gamblers buying options, hoping for a payoff. There will be more of them in the next 6 months and a year from now than today. And right now we're at record highs. We're at record high numbers of option volume and option gamblers out there. And the Nigerian brothers are probably talking about unusual option activity every day. It'll be no shortage of unusual options activity. You don't need to worry about unusual options activity. What you need is premium. What you're looking for is cash, big chunks of cash to offer up your stock or your deep in the money calls that represent stock. That's what you're looking for, and you're getting it. If you're playing your cards right, you are getting it. And what you need to do is maintain an eye on your investments so that when an opportunity comes to do a rollover and it works for you, usually it means you could bring in more money into your account than what you had. So at the end of the day today, there's an extra $2,000 in your account. And oh yeah, by the way, I shifted these contracts that expire in March and I pushed them into June contracts, and I hauled in a couple extra $1,000 into my account. Thank you very much. There's a job well done. Another good working day accomplished. The minute you sell a call option is the minute you are looking at a profit situation, because you're a seller first, you're a buyer later. And when you sell is usually when you make your money. If you sell a house, people say, what'd you buy the house for? Oh, you bought it for $200,000. You sold it for $300,000. You made $100,000. If you buy a car for 30 grand, sell it for 20 grand, the car cost you $10,000, but you had it for 5 years. So it only cost you 2,000 a year to own that car. And you know what? That's not bad depreciation over a 5-year time frame for a car. Artwork, how much did you pay for that Van Gogh? $5 million. You sold it for $6 million. Hey, you made $1 million on the Van Gogh. Contracts, what you sell your contracts for? $460. What you buying back for? $260. You made $2 a contract, $200. How many did you write? 20. You made $4 grand. How long did it take you to do that? A month. Not bad. $4,000 in a month on 20 contracts. That's not bad at all. The objective now is to be able to write 23 or 25 or more. And there's the game that we're involved with here, the growing out of your accounts. Welcome to the market, kids. It's complicated. There's a lot going on at the same time. Those of you who are really interested in growing your wealth and cash flow, I commend those of you who have already taken the first step to do so. I guess the very first step is you're hanging out with the gang here. Welcome, everybody. Number 2, you've taken classes that I've offered through my website, and you've checked them out, and you're still taking the rest of them. There's 14 of them that you're going after. There's the website you have to go to. This is my website, and I've got a message pinned up here, don't I? Talking about if you want more money in your life. Get your butts over there and check those 14 classes out. Start with class number 1. take all 14 over the next 2-3 months, whatever timing you need. You do a class a week, 2 classes a week. How busy are you? Can you squeeze me in once a week for a couple of hours? Do this. Learn the art of the options market. You have to learn the entire options business. You got to really get a handle on it, because otherwise you are going in shorthanded. And if you've watched the NHL Hockey League, there are teams that do score goals while shorthanded. It's a big deal. Why? It almost never happens. That's why. Investors who come in shorthanded into a market thinking that, I'm better looking than everybody, so I'm going to make money, ain't going to work, folks. Putting lipstick on isn't going to make you smarter and richer than anybody else. You can't be the best looking guy in the room or girl in the room to make money in this business. As a matter of fact, in the option writing business, you don't have to put on makeup. You don't have to get all fancied up. You can be in your PJs and you can make a ton of money from your bedroom or your den or from your living room couch or your lazy boy chair. No problemo. No fancy wardrobe required to impress anybody. No paparazzi watching you make money. Believe me, you're doing this in private. You're a male or you're female, makes no difference. Women make just as much money as men do on option writing, if not more. It's a question of how good a trader are you? How patient a trader are you? Did you take the classes to give yourself at least a start? If you do that, you'll have a pretty good idea what we talk about around here. You'll understand the lingo that people are using around here on the comments section over here. So yes, thank you for those of you who have already stepped up and are taking the classes, are reviewing the classes, you're re-watching classes to get refamiliarized. Well done, everybody. And you will be, your odds of success are much higher than if you come in cold. Coming in cold into this, you are ready for exploitation, and you don't want to be that person. You just don't want to be that person. You want to be one of the most educated people in the room. And believe me, there are folks out there who have millions of dollars who play the options market, and they have a percentage of their portfolio that they put in. They know nothing about it. It is shocking how little they know. They think they're smart. They think they have a pretty good handle because they're very good in their professions. They're very good in real estate. They're very good in medical. They're very good in accounting. They're very good in software design. And so they figure, I'm so good at what it is I do that this option thing should be a piece of cake. What they don't understand is the option market is filled with the same highly successful and highly trained and highly motivated people that every other profession has as well. And you're now playing with the pros, and you better have a handle on just what they're looking at and what they're thinking about and what returns they're looking for. You got to understand their mentality, what they're looking for a successful trade. If you don't know what your opposition is thinking, you're just walking in like a sap with a target on your chest. You're going to get picked off. You cannot afford that. You don't have enough money. You don't have enough money to lose to these professionals. And there's no need to lose a dime to anyone in that options market. There is no need, no call for it. This is a very conservative strategy that I talk about, writing options on stock. It is not a goofy, crazy one bet will make it all happen for you. Not going to do it. This is a program, a long-term marathon race where you just keep chugging and chugging and chugging, and you make it in nickels and dimes and dollars, and they add up dramatically quick. Good news for most of you, your overheads are so low compared to option professionals in downtown high-rise office buildings. You have a huge advantage over all the pros. You do not need to make $1 million a week to keep your desk job. Where these pros who are handling hundreds of millions of dollars of option premiums and stocks portfolios, they have to generate millions in return to just keep their day jobs or they're fired. You don't have that issue. You make 10 grand a week writing options. Guess what your overheads are? Nothing, virtually nothing. It is so cheap to be an option writer today compared to what it was like when I would have been your stockbroker in the 1970s and 80s. Back then, you and I would have been talking about option strategies, and we would have had to have had the opportunity to make $1 a contract return to just pay the damn commissions when it's all said and done, because you had to have had a margin account, you would have had to have had assets under control, you would have had to have paid a commission on the way out and back in, and interest charges, and oh Lord, it was ridiculous. Those were tough days to make money, and this is why option writing, until just the last few years, was the sole domain of the huge institutional traders. Because if you're the institutional seller, you're a writer of calls for a pension fund, and you contact Merrill Lynch to write 500 call options at $5 a piece, they will not nail you with a commission that they would nail the small guy with 2 contracts for. Those poor people were hit with minimum commissions, $100 minimum or more, where the institutions, they negotiated their rates and they compared notes. It was not uncommon for an option writer to call 5 brokers in the morning to find out who's offering the best deal today to do an option write. And they would go with the guys offering the best. And I can tell you that the brokerage firms themselves had traders calling the institutions going, hey, listen, if you're going to write options, use us. We can give you a really good deal. Because the brokers knew what the other brokers were charging, and they would then try to undercut each other for the business. Again, this was a domain for institutional investors only, and that is why you didn't hear, most of you had never heard of option writing until you found this old man on YouTube telling you about something you'd never heard of before, because we're talking about what banks were doing, insurance companies, mutual funds, hedge funds, pension funds, not Joe Schmuck on the street. Welcome, Joe Schmuck, to the institutional game called option writing. I welcome you here. Some of you here are doing really well, and I'm really pleased for it. It's a growing channel. It's a growing area of this channel. And we're one of the only channels on YouTube that talks about option writing. We are a specialty channel, to say the least. And you can tell by how many people are not here. We have 193 people watching right now. This old YouTuber with no hair, and whatever hair he's got, it's white. It ain't pretty around here. It's basic. You get the information straight from me to you. And if you're listening, you're listening. If you're not, you're wasting your time. Congratulations on being option writers. Some of you have really picked it up and have really adapted to it. And there are a number of you that are about to break out and really start making some serious dough. Whether you can write 1 or 5 or 7 at a time, or whether you can write 30, 50, 200 at a time or more, you're all welcome here, and you're all going to find it rather lucrative to be option writers if you follow the rules on how to do it. So there you go. Check out my website right there, stockmarkswithbruce.ca. The CA stands for Canada. There you go. I'm a Canuck, as if you haven't figured already. And head over there. You'll find my happy, smiling face. This is a website that my daughter helped create for me. And you'll come over here to the home page. There I am right there. And on the upper right-hand corner, you'll see where it says classes. You click that classes tab, and there's your instructor. Here I am, attention students, classes in session. And now you can take a look at the screenshots of these classes, lesson number 1, number 2, and all the way up to right now 13 and 14. And start with number 1 and move your way up the ladder. Take them all. You can buy them one at a time whenever you're ready. You can watch them as many times as you like. And if you have a question about some of these, just send me an email and let me know. Your instructor would be happy to help you. You'll probably find that if you watch these classes, you're probably going to notice what we talk about here is exactly what's in the classes. It's exactly the same thing. There's no disconnect between the classes and actually writing options. You're going to notice, oh, they're talking about GameStop. They're talking about this. They're talking about that. Now, I got to warn you. The classes started out last year, July 2021, and so if you're watching class 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, those took place in the summer and the fall and the winter of 2021 into 2022. The prices of the stocks at that time were the prices I was using for examples to show you how options work. So you'll realize, oh, it's not today's values, it's back then. Oh, I see. Yes, GameStop hadn't split 4-for-1 yet. Oh, okay. You'll figure that out pretty quickly. And if you're paying attention to class 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6, you're going to find 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 easy to absorb. And hanging out here with the gang, as you notice them talking to each other and talking to me, you're going to understand the lingo around here very quickly and go, I now know what these people are saying. I now know what this means. And then you too will find for yourself where it fits for you. Where does option writing fit into your investing strategies? And for some of you, it'll be a minor add-on, and some others of you, it'll be the thing you're going to be doing, and it is going to be the big life changer that you had no idea could happen. Because you were convinced that the market was rigged against small investors, and that you'd be lucky to see a stock go up 30%. You might make 10% by the time you were in and out, and everyone else will make the big money. As an option writer, I can tell you, you are on the opposite side of the market from 99% of the players. You're on the liquidity providing side of the market, and you get to call your shots. You will be amazed at how powerful you are. To determine your future and determine your win percentage. You will be blown away by how time and time again you write options and realize, I'm going to make money on this like you cannot believe. This is just being handed to me. I can't believe it. But then you realize I am the casino, and the option buyers are the saps on the casino floor. They're the gamblers. I'm not a gambler. I'm a casino. The gamblers are down here. They're the ones giving me their money up front. It's unbelievable. Welcome to the party, everybody. I'm glad you're here. Thank you for those of you who've already been throwing thumbs ups our direction. We have 119 thumbs ups for this telecast already. We're 20 minutes into it, or what? I don't even know. We're 50 minutes into it. We open, I think, in 10 minutes. So welcome to the party, pal. Nice to have you here. Hit the thumbs up button for me if you don't mind. Give the show a little quick momentum. We try to hit 200 every morning. That's what we want to do. Thank you all so much. Does Matterport report today? Yes, they do. They are going to be doing that. Thank you. Samuel, I've been one of those that's become more knowledgeable with the option writing as Uncle Bruce has been helping every single step of the way. Alberta has created this journey for me. Samuel, good morning to DQ. Robert, Matterport earnings after the close. J-Boy on 119, lurking and working as always. Right on, J-Boy. Welcome to the show and welcome to the channel tonight. Hello, fam, from Dusty Weeks. Arturo, number 115. Thank you, Arturo, for the thumbs up. Appreciate it. DQ, number 117. Bama Bay, BPCY. It's not that hard. Take the classes. Exactly. If you really want to understand how to make money in the option classes, you've got to invest into yourself. And $150 a class is the price you should pay. And you should say to yourself, okay, I'm going to take class number 1. And then I'll do number 2. And a month from now, I'll do number 3. I will do all 14 over 3, 6, whatever number of months. Some of you, though, what happens is you take class number 1, and then a few days later, you try number 2. And then after a little longer hanging around here, you start doing 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You just do them all because you realize the faster I get through these classes, the quicker I really can join these people and make some money. This is amazing what's going on here in a bare, ugly market. You have no idea how significant it is that you guys are making money in this market. There are friends of yours, relatives of yours, acquaintances of yours, people you'll never know, who are getting their butts handed to them in this market. We lost 700 points yesterday. Do you know how many trillions of dollars disappeared out of people's retirement accounts yesterday all over the world? Do you have any idea? It was insane yesterday. We're up 43 points on the Dow right now. There is no recovery here. We're going to go lower. Folks, get with the program, learn how to write options and protect yourself and enhance your return and give yourself a shot at really making some money, because we're a day older today than yesterday. We're going to be another day older tomorrow if we're around. And there's no one to carry you going forward. If you're young enough, you got mom and dad. Eventually, you are mom and dad. Eventually, you're grandma and grandpa, and everyone's leaning on you. It's time for you to make the dough and to become the patriarch, the matriarch, leader of the family. And it's time for you to take control of your destiny, your financial future and destiny. It's time. There's no time to waste. Get on with it. Let's get going. There's money to be had here. Let's go. Anyway, there it is. Thank you all for joining me this morning, hanging out with me already. We now have 132 thumbs ups. Thank you for the quick surge of thumbs ups. Keep them coming. Let me know what number you are. Welcome all of you to the party at the Nakatomi Tower. Here we are. Unfortunately, Mr. Takagi, he didn't provide the codes, and so he he didn't take the options courses, and so he basically, well, he won't be joining us for the rest of his life. And so that nice suit of his, it's kind of yucky. Too bad. We have to move on. You want to make it to the end of the show, you better learn how things are done. And Yippee-ki-yay, everybody. We're going to make some dough here. Welcome to the party, pal. Al Powell, thanks for joining us. Enjoy those Twinkies. I know it's for somebody else. Yeah, I know. Sure. Yeah, okay, I get it. Nice to have you here. Thank you all for popping in to see me and being part of this channel today. We love Die Hard. We love Seinfeld, and we have fun. 138 thumbs ups. I need 62 more, folks. Hurry up. Hit the thumbs up button. We're opening in 5 minutes. Get me to 200 thumbs ups ASAP. They're free to hand out. So come on, people. Let's do that and give our channel a little bit of a momentum boost to start the day. Thank you all for yesterday. Great session yesterday. What a day. A number of you were kind enough to make donations to this channel through Super Chats and PayPal. Man, you guys are awesome. Any of you would like to have a one-on-one chat with me this Sunday, let me know ASAP. Slots are I think I'm down to one, maybe. Still waiting on one person. And if you want a slot for next Sunday, I think I have one or two available, not three. I think we're already booked on another one for next week. Yes. So do let me know what you want. We'll see what we can do for you. We'll have a one-on-one session to give you one-on-one guidance as to how to get richer in this world. 148 thumbs ups. Thank you, guys. 52 to go. Keep those thumbs ups coming in, guys. 4 minutes to the opening. We're at 148 on the thumbs up meter. And with your help, we can hit 200 very quickly. 213 of you are here. 148 thumbs ups are in. Thank you. And nail that sucker for us if you don't mind. And give the channel a little bit of a boost today. Thank you all so much. Pre-market, I'm looking at Rocket Lab up 6 cents. Nothing on SoFi, no change. GameStop down 15 cents. Matterport reporting tonight after the bell. They're up 2 cents to 342. 23andMe up a penny. Spire up a penny. Nothing on ATIP. I got Smart Rent maybe down 4. Nothing on Cyxtera. Apple is up 25 cents. Goldman down $1.02. Cisco up 21 cents. Tesla up $1. Arc Innovation down up 18 cents. Microsoft is ahead by 39 cents. Bed Bath Beyond up 4. Pfizer is up 3. HPQ up 14. Google is down a dime at 91.96. Amazon up 45 cents and Nvidia up 68. So it's a quiet opening here. There is no massive snapback rally kicking in here that I can tell you about. I don't see one. Oil this morning has been down. Most of the morning has been slightly in the red. showing oil down 29 cents to 76.07. I got the Dow up 40. I think it's 46 points. S&P is up 5.5, and NASDAQ is up 28. That's all I'm showing. And for some reason, some people think there's a bounce coming for this market right away. I don't know where they get the impression from. Wishful thinking, maybe? I don't know. We'll find out when we crank it up. We're opening in 2 minutes. Larry Titus will hit the bells. Thank you, Lair, for this in advance. Appreciate it. Welcome one and all to the party. Let's see what we can do here and see if we can get you guys some, somewhat richer today. How about that? Deuce Caboose, 135. Thank you, pal. Appreciate the thumbs up. Alberto says, Uncle, I'm here. We can begin now. Sammy Styles is in the house. DQ glazed or chocolate. Bama Babe, BP, this is a marathon, not a sprint. That is correct. Let's see. What else going on? Spicy Android. I'm number 145. Rock and roll. And what else is going on here? My brain is now activated. I'm ready to begin. Giddy up. Good morning, everybody. Boston cream donuts today, fellas, says Samuel. Cream cheese bagels toasted for Uncle Bruce as we buy back and rewrite. Abram, number 151. Bruce, you're within 50 of the thumbs ups you need for 200. Thank you. And Mirko Alberto, I started watching Breaking Bad again a few days ago. Somehow I had to think of you whenever I saw Turco Salamanca. It was really funny. Yeah. Mirko, that's one of Sammy's favorite characters. Cool. Thumbs up, says Mirko. Too much fun. I watched last night with Jennifer All the President's Men with Robert Redford and with Dustin Hoffman. What an incredible movie. Really enjoyed it. I've seen that movie at least 20 times. Gosh, and Ben Bradley, the guy that played Ben Bradley, man, Jason Robards. Oh, what an actor. Larry, thank you, my friend, for the bells. We're up, we're running, we're here, we're live, we're going, it's happening, it's we're underway. Thank you. Thank you for joining in, everybody. Great to see you all. What's going on here? We've got a slot taken away. Okay, Joseph, thank you. Joe, thank you, my friend, for that donation on PayPal. We'll get you locked in. Just let me know what time you want, and we'll get you reserved for your slot for Sunday, buddy. You got it. What else? Where am I? Matthew, good morning. Number 152, 153. I can't wait till Matterport earnings tonight. Something big is going on with Deere. This should move the needle. Bobby, the bells. Welcome, everybody. Let's see what's going on. Thank you, Lair. Let's go. Made the donation for Sunday. Yes, sir. Got it. Just let me know what time you want, and we'll get you set up. Fantastic. Bama Babe, thank you, Larry Titus, for hitting the bells. We are up and running. Let's take a look at this market, see where we're at right now. Just give me a second here while I have to move some plugs around. Used to be easy. It's not that easy anymore. It's just not that easy anymore. Here we go. I've got the Dow holding a gain right now. Looks like 48 points. And we'll see what we've got over here. Boom. There we go. Move this over there. Yep, we're up 52 on the Dow. We're up 3.5 on S&P, 42 gain on NASDAQ. A slight bump to start, but nothing great. Oil down 64 cents right now. And we're showing, let's see here. We got ME at 260 a share, up 3.5 cents. Still no news on whether they did their financing or not. It had a drop yesterday, and it's now bounced back to the 260 from the 245, 248 range, something like that. GameStop 2078 up 12 cents. Bed Bath Beyond is up 5 cents. ATIP at 38.2, down 1.3 cents. I think that's last night's close, so I don't have today's opening yet. Tesla 199.61 up 224. SoFi up a nickel at 6.47. Apple up 48 cents. HPQ's up 7. Cyxtera's down 1.8. Google up 12 cents. Moderna up 72 at 160.81. Cisco's 49.73 up 4. Pfizer's up 17. IBM up a dime. Microsoft up 73. Rocket Lab looks like it's up almost a dime now. Matterport up, I think, a dime. Smart Rent down a penny, and Spire up 2 cents at the moment. Let's see. Okay, more gains are appearing, says Spire. Yep, it takes a while for it all to kick through here. We got a $1.20 gain on Amazon. Home Depot up 160 now, up a buck now. Netflix down a quarter. Vanik up 130 a share. Adobe up 255. Goldman up 140. Boeing up 81 cents. Facebook up 15 cents at 172. Royal Caribbean down 11. Target down 62. JP Morgan off 50 cents. Costco's up $3 to 504.92. Walmart down 51 cents, 146.82. Disney down 35 cents to 101.74. Nvidia up $1.39, 207.94, and American Airlines up 3 cents. So very little movement so far. Not much in the way of massive snapback run-ups. Nothing like that is happening anywhere, really. We're up a nickel now on GameStop. Make that 7 cents. We're up 2 on ME. Tesla's up 37 cents. SoFi's up 7. So it's fractional. I think the markets could go lower. Interest rate concerns are here. They have not dissipated. The big speculation is how high will the Fed fund rate go? The talk was 5 to 5.25. Now it's 5.25, 5.5, and then there's the pessimists who are going, no, 6, 6.5. This market has to go to 6% interest rate, 6.5% Fed funds rate for inflation to be knocked off, because we're about to hit big pay raises for teacher unions, health workers, cops, firefighters, public service sector employees, large unionized contract negotiations, the Postal Service. We're talking about millions and millions and millions of jobs in the United States where people are going to get 10, 15% raises because they haven't had a raise in 2 years, 3 years. They're still on 2020 contracts, 2019 contracts when inflation was 2%. Those days are over. They've already had 1 year of devastating inflation. They're now into the second year of inflation. 10% raise will only break you even from the last year and a half. Any of you don't get a 10% raise at work, that's a pay cut you're being offered right now by your employer. That's what they think of you. Sorry to bring it to your attention, but that's the reality of what's going on. Number 157 checking in. Marcus, I am number 158 on the thumbs up meter. Thank you very much for these thumbs ups. 160 now is showing on the meter. We have 40 to go to hit 200 thumbs ups. Thanks, guys, for the thumbs ups coming in this morning. Keep them coming. Hammer that thumbs up button for us, and let's get some more momentum on this channel. Thank you. We're up 38 points on the Dow. Nothing much. We're only up 4 on S&P, and we're up 38 on NASDAQ. I think we could be negative in 10 minutes. If there is no wave of buying coming in, we're going red. That's just where it is. Oil is off 72, even further now. 75.64 on oil. We're dropping again. GameStop 2074 to 2080. ME up about 2 pennies. The Dow up 28 points. We've got Tesla up 21 cents. This is not a rip roaring green start to the day. Now BP. NHS nurses and doctors equals 3.5% pay raise offered. Are you serious? Yeah, that's not going to fly. The thing about the medical business is that all hospital systems, healthcare systems, they're short of nurses. They're short of doctors. There's a massive shortage of healthcare workers. You want to offer 3.5% pay raises? They're not applying for the job. You're not going to replenish your workforce. It's just not going to happen. These folks will go into the private practice. They'll go and work for outfits elsewhere. There are Canadian nurses being heavily recruited by American healthcare providers, where they're saying to the Canadian gals and guys, hey, you want to come down here to the U.S.? We'll pay you as much money as you're making now in a year. You'll earn that here in 4 months. Why don't you come down to California or Arizona, Florida? Why don't you work down here? And how about we'll just give you a 40-hour work week instead of an 80-hour work week? No mandatory overtime shifts. We won't abuse you like the systems where you're from. How about that? Now, those folks have to ask themselves, can I separate myself from my family for a 4-month, 6-month contract to do this? Or is it just too much? Or am I dependent? Am I needed by my mom and dad to look after them? Where I'm working full time and then looking after family members, can I actually do this? If you're a young medical worker, 5 years into the nursing profession, you are ideal if you haven't got children yet. If you're not married yet, you don't have a mortgage at the moment. If you are still, just an apartment dweller and lean and mean on expenses, you're the perfect candidate to make this move. But if you're in your 40s and 50s, you've got kids in school, you've got mortgages, car payments, credit card bills, all this sort of stuff. That's not so easy to do. Financially, it might be the real attractive thing to do, but from a separation of family, that might be too much. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Anyway, Deuce Caboose is saying, link to Aspire article from their IR and Discord. BP, yes, the UK government has offered them 3% pay raise. Watch the outflow now. Deuce Caboose, they got a new partnership. Doesn't mention the dollar amount, says Deuce Caboose. It never does it? They never announce dollars. Aspire. They just announce deals and they don't say how much it's worth. Very, very, cryptic. You have to sort of try to read between some lines, and I hate doing that. I just don't like it. Anyway, there you have it. We're up 39 on the Dow, a tiny bit better. ME is up 7 cents. GameStop up 23. Bed Bath Beyond up 12 cents. ATIP is open, down 1/10 of a penny, 39.4 cents. Tesla 199.14 up 178. SoFi up 11 cents at 652. There's a little buy wave coming in. See if it takes. Apple is down 4 cents. HBQ is up 16. Google up 8. Moderna down 22 at 159.86. Cisco down 18. Pfizer up 1 penny. IBM down 28. Microsoft down up 88 cents. Rocket Lab up 11. Matterport up 14, now 354. SmartRent up a half a penny. Spire up 1 penny. Amazon up 153, Home Depot up 137, Netflix up 140, Vanik up 158, Adobe up 344, Goldman up 105, Boeing up 86 cents, Meta up 47 cents at this moment in time. Royal Caribbean up 39 cents. It's fractional gains, nothing serious yet. Don't know if this market will really take, or is this a little dead cat pop before we back off another couple hundred points? I don't know. We'll find out just what's going on. The headline says U.S. stocks limp higher at the open after the worst sell-off of the year. That's right. And we might have more of it. We'll see just what gives. It might take an hour or two for the selling to really catch up to this weak-ass buying. On the other hand, we may find a sell wave overpowering this weak little pop-up and just crushing it, and we're going down 500 points and then try to recover from that. I don't know. We may have another down leg before we go anywhere. I don't know. Let's see. BP is saying doctors and nurses voted to strike, teachers voted to strike. Well, the UK is in such a mess economically that it is a nightmare over there. The inflation rate in the UK has been 11, 12, 14% in some areas. Utility bills have just been sky high, and you can understand these workers going 3.5%. Sayonara. First off, we'll go on strike, and secondly, a lot of these workers are looking for jobs elsewhere. That's all. You can imagine, a young couple that are 30 years of age, no kids, both in the medical field. If they can go elsewhere, if they can come to America and work here and make triple the money, and live in a city that is much cheaper to live in than in the UK, they'll take a look at it. I mean, they've probably got friends that have already made the move, and they're comparing notes, because that's one thing that does happen between teachers and doctors and others. They have pals who've made these moves or are aware of someone, and they start to ask questions. What is it like really? Because this is what the recruiter's telling me. What's it like? What was it like for you compared to what the recruiter said it would be like? Interesting developments out there. We're up 54 now on the Dow Jones, maybe 64. Trying to put a little rally on. We'll see if it works. We have 170 or so thumbs ups now. We're only about 30, 31 away from the promised land of 200 thumbs ups. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate that. Fantastic stuff, everybody. Let's take a look here. Joe, I got you covered. You're booked in, my friend, for Sunday. We got you. Thank you, sir, and we'll look forward to seeing you. Sunday it is. We have one opening left for this Sunday, and that's a 9 o'clock Eastern. If anyone wants a one-on-one, do let me know as soon as you can, just in case there's 2 or 3 of you. I have one opening left for a one-on-one session this Sunday at 9 o'clock Eastern time. Send me a private email and we'll get you set up. Otherwise, it has to be the week after. Okay. Thank you all. Let's see what else. BP says sky high inflation, and then BP shall announce record obscene profits, 40 billion. There's a call for bigger windfall tax from them, 40 billion in profits. Well, keep in mind that the oil companies, they pay top wages to those employees of theirs, and I'm not talking about the top 5%. Those guys, of course, make the money, but even mid-level people at BP, Shell, and elsewhere, they do very, very well. And they are helping keep the economy from completely cratering because they're spending money. They're paying their bills, they're paying their credit card fees, car payments, whatever. But a deal's a deal. If you're an oil and gas company and you take the risk 15 years ago to drill oil and gas fields, go looking for them, and then 5 years ago, after billions spent, you start to pull out energy, and you can only get what the market gives you at the time. That's the gamble that these guys took. For many years, oil and gas companies were selling oil and gas at a loss because the world price was crap. Well, lately it's been very good. They're getting their payback. In Canada, I can tell you that many oil and gas companies in this country, they were in debt up to their necks and beyond up until 2 years ago. The oil patch in Canada was not in good shape 2 years ago. Then we had this rise in cost in product. They were able to now knock off debts, IOUs, and some stock buybacks because they issued stock to raise money and so on and so forth. This is an up and down cyclical business, and I find it humorous that governments want to get in on the action when times are good, but when times are bad, they go, "Hey, that's the free market. Sorry, you're just gonna have to tough it out." No. A deal is a deal. Royalties are set in advance on production, and governments get either a percentage or a flat rate per barrel or per 1,000 cubic feet. Whatever that deal is, you got to live with it. Because at the end of the day, these companies are highly regulated and they are highly controlled. And reality is they employ a gazillion people in many, many industries. It's not just the oil rig worker in the oil field. We're talking about many support businesses to get to this point, and then the ongoing employment to keep the energy flowing, the logistics of bringing fuel out of the ground, refining it, distributing it, re-engineering it, and producing fertilizer, pharmaceuticals, and whatever else, and ultimately fuel for vehicles. This is a big multi-level entity that most people just don't get it. They don't know, unless they're in the patch. They don't know what the oil patch is really all about. In Alberta, where I come from, they know because half of all the jobs up there are oil patch related. And for Canada, the country of Canada, oil and gas is produced in Western Canada, but also in Eastern Canada, off the Atlantic shore, off the Atlantic Ocean. The amount of money that the government of Canada in Ottawa receives from royalties is phenomenal. It's one of the largest sources of income to the federal budget. And they do not run around and necessarily preach radical let's just tax the crap out of these guys because they're making too much money kind of nonsense. These entities are paying their bills and are not welfare recipients. They don't need a socialist government bailout from time to time, generally speaking. However, are they angels? No, no, no. But then, is anyone an angel, really? Are pharmaceutical companies angels? Are car manufacturers angels? Are insurance companies angels? No, no, no. We all have our beefs about any business you want to talk about, whether it's healthcare insurance or providers or car guys or car rental companies, hotels. I mean, who doesn't have a complaint about any business? Period. Come on, let's get real. Deuce Caboose, last Matterport meetings call, they mentioned they expect the fourth quarter to be very good because of supply chain disruptions being solved. Could be a nice earnings report. Beach Boy, Uncle Bruce, please save the 9 p.m. spot if it's available. Thank you. Yes, it is. Can do that. Who cares? Uncle Bruce joining late. Any input on an IBM cover call right today? I bought back for a nice profit yesterday. Very good. Well, IBM, we're now at 131.35. That's where the stock is. It's off just 36 cents. The high of 131.99, low 131.26. This is a typical day for the company. So the key now, my friend, is can you write a call out of the money for a nice premium? How far out do you have to go? This is the question. Do you look at 134s, 5s, 6s, 137s, 140s? And how far out do you want to be with this? I don't have an answer. I find it interesting. The stock's down 33 cents with the Dow up 72 points, by the way. This is contrary. It's reacting in a contrary way right now. Maybe it's foretelling where the market is headed. So if that's the case, you want to write something sooner rather than later. Now, if you write closer into the money, you'll get a higher premium and you won't have to go out as far. And so you want to write a March-April contract or maybe an April-May contract, something like that. You might look at 135 or 134. But if you're thinking of May, June, July, you might be looking at 135 to the 140 window. You're going to write beyond June, July, August. You could then look at 140 to 145 as an exercise, a strike price for a possible assignment. So you could build in some capital gain and take premium. It's up to you to decide how to do this. BP, UK owns North Sea oil and gas, but sells to Europe for cheap rates, and then it's sold back to UK resident higher rates. Something wrong there. Again, I don't know the details of these arrangements. Who funded the drilling of all this stuff? Could have been the Norwegian Sovereign Wealth Fund. I don't know. These are complicated deals, and if you're getting the headline, you may not be getting the details of how it really came to be. And think about it this way: if you want to get elected as a politician, what do you want to do? Stir the pot. And who do you want to stir it against? The person you're trying to beat. And you come up with whatever fanciful headlines you want and keep the details out of it. And the other person is battling headlines and not able to talk details because the public doesn't want to hear it. They just want the eye-catching, eye candy headlines. And that's what, a lot of folks you and I know, they vote on an instinct gut feel. They don't vote on deep knowledge of the scenario. And again, I'm not defending anyone. I'm not blaming anyone. It is just the way the world is. It's complicated. There's a reason for that. It's not because UK oil companies are stupid. That's not it. They're very smart. It's something else. Who cares? Says, wondering if my out of the money strike needs to be a bit of a buffer because I'm expecting a bounce back. Well, this is why I would recommend that in that case, you may want to write 140 calls 4 or 5 months out for the fat premium. You may want to play that game because if you were to be exercised, again, just pretend you were at 140 and you already got a $7, $8 premium up front, you're now getting taken out at 147, 148. Would you mind that? What are you going to do? Turn around, buy the stock back right at 150, 55 anyway. So think about it that way. Susan shops about companies with was it leasing loans on high-rise buildings in big cities are defaulting on their loans, so causing workers are not coming to offices. Big banks are left holding bag on trillions of office space. Shopping mall space, there's a lot of commercial real estate having problems right now. And in Calgary, as an example, that is a city with a huge downtown core that has been built up over the last 20 years. A number of buildings are now being looked at to convert them into condos because there's a housing shortage in Calgary. There's always a housing shortage in Calgary. So now the thinking is, well, maybe we can take a look at ways. And of course, the developers are first thing they're going to do is go to the city. Would you allow us to convert office space into condo space? If so, what would the tax rate be for a condo owner? If the tax rate is like a business tax rate for space, we can't do it because there's no way we can compete with a condo building 5 blocks out of downtown where the rate on the tax rate on that condo is so many dollars, and here downtown it's triple. We're not going to be able to sell a condo to anybody. Do we make this building into a hotel? Do we do that? If we turn it into a hotel, what would the business tax be on this building now? We have it's so complicated. It is so in depth. And of course, the city is sitting there going, well, we don't want to have half the downtown core turn into 1/3 the tax revenue. If we can encourage businesses to come downtown and pay those taxes, maybe we, the city and the province, find ways to encourage businesses to go downtown Calgary with some sort of incentives to create businesses down there so that they'll pay those tax rates that we don't have to give up if we go condo. It's so complicated. It's never a dull moment. Then, of course, there are people like you who want to work from home. There's that. Coyote, your parents didn't understand climate change, but your grandkids are going to love it. Credit Savage, good morning, my fellow simpletons, degenerates, and Uncle Bruce. There's hopium in the air. Is everything fixed? I wonder. No more pain. Laughing out loud. We're only up 44 on the Dow right now. Matthew, class action lawsuits. Beach Boy, sorry, is the 2 p.m. Eastern available? No. The 2 p.m. is booked. The noon is booked. Only the 9 a.m. is available. It's the only one I got, my friend, if you want to do that. Let's see. Matthew, class action lawsuits against AMC. Who cares? Says, thanks, Uncle B. M. Grant, an institution steady adding their SoFi positions. Oppenheimer added 19,000 shares last quarter. Mike, good morning. I'm number 175, Bruce. Credit Savage. Oh, look, Carvana, Peloton, and AMC are up. Wow. Hopium. On a day when there's talks that rates are going to rise and big companies are going to lay off more people. This is interesting. Coyote, Susan Shops About, sounds like they made a bad deal on those offices. We should have to go to the office to bail them out. No, thank you. BP, Uncle Bruce, Margaret Thatcher and the government of the 80s sold when privatizing the UK. No vote to sell oil and gas assets ever took place. Yes, that was a major shift from socialistic type policies to much more right-wing policies. And Margaret inherited an absolute mess. Tried to fix as much as she could, as long as she could, but the UK had to really reinvent itself way back in the day, and it is the biggest move, as far as my personal opinion on the UK. The biggest mistake the UK made was leaving the European Union. That was a huge mistake. Massive cost will be borne by the young of the UK who are graduating college, because there were kids out of the UK who could have gone easily into Europe for jobs without any hassle, paperwork easy peasy, import exports easy peasy. And right now, the European Union would be stronger if they were larger. And the UK blew it, because personally, I think that in the next 10 years, it will become evident that a number of United Kingdom graduates and young professionals are going to be stunted in their careers because they're going to be restricted to UK, and it'll be very difficult to get jobs elsewhere. And for the UK, they were allowing in all kinds of employees into the country. And these people were coming into the UK. I'm not talking about the broom pushers. I'm talking professionals that were paying UK taxes and were buying UK property and were adding to the middle class of the United Kingdom. There was a growing middle class happening in the United Kingdom that's been snuffed out. This is my personal opinion. I could be wrong. I'm not trying to make anybody angry. I'm just saying from out here, looking in, I'm going, well, that was a dumb move. And I'm sorry to see how I was horrified to see how the campaign was being sold to people on both sides when you saw the vote come in and the young, those 30 and under, 35 and under, they wanted to stay in the EU, and the older seniors wanted out because they were sold a bill of goods about these immigrants causing all kinds of problems, and the young were snuffed out by the elders. And now the elders who need the youngsters to help bring in tax revenues to keep these programs going, it ain't there. And I'm disappointed by that. And it's just when you exclude yourself from a larger market, you screw yourself. It's just this, there's no winning. You do not get richer by getting smaller. You get more prosperous by getting bigger. And right now, you want to do some fun business in the United Kingdom, you want to be an importer, exporter in the UK, good luck to you, because the paperwork is a bloody nightmare. And as far as EU countries go, there are a lot of companies that are mom and pop companies that used to do a lot of business in the UK, don't want anything to do with it. And I can see why, because the paperwork has just become a nightmare. Just one guy's opinion. Mike, bought my first deep money call on GameStop on Fidelity. Can't sell against it as my account is less than $10,000. What the hell is that? I don't know anything about it. I have no idea what's going on there. Bobby, the city hall has finally been downsized to a strip mall. The city mall has finally been stripped to a strip mall, and the really old mall is being rebuilt as a housing strip mall thing. Deuce Caboose. Ungruz, what do you think a fair valuation for Spire is? $50 a share. Deuce Caboose, 20 to 1. BP, but you are not having the full facts on Brexit. UK had a north-south divide, the very rich south, the very poor north, jobs in the south, nothing in the north. People in the north had to move south. Yeah, I know. I know that. We know that in Alberta too. You want to make the big money in Alberta? You go north where the oil camps are. This isn't a Brexit thing. This isn't a European Union thing squishing the UK. That was a UK problem. UK. There was a million reasons why it happened the way it happened. Unfortunately for the United Kingdom, I don't know. What do you know? 6 prime ministers later since Brexit's vote. In what, a decade, total dysfunction in the PM's office, and the outside world is looking at the UK going, get your act together and figure out what the hell you're about, because you guys don't know. And it's true. It's a turmoil, and in the UK, politics has gotten crazy. And you want to think about building a $5 billion investment into the UK for a factory or whatever, think again. You're going to think long and hard before you make a move. Susan Shops about Guy Oates could be a tipping point that will not get bad for us. Government won't bail them out, which is why they approved bail-ins. We will be used. Any $250,000 in our bank account will be given bank stock. BP, to get a job, the North, except Manchester's very poor in comparison. Gowdy, yeah, Michael, yeah, Fidelity has that rule. TDA does not. TD Ameritrade, I think Charles Schwab also doesn't, but you'd have to check. Alex, Brexit has thrown the UK into a decade of culture wars and economic decline. There is now a majority for rejoining, according to the polling, but the debate is so toxic, few politicians dare talk about it. And that's exactly how it is in every other country with its own domestic nightmares that they're facing. The toxicity, you know what I mean? It's bad. It ain't fun. And there you go. BP investment was not coming into UK before Brexit. All investment was in London South only. I get it. Look, you're Canadian, and your employer says, hey, would you like to work in the UK for 5 years under a 5-year contract? What are you going to say? If you're a young 30-something-year-old single guy or girl, where do you want to be? London. What do you think? What do you know? You know London. You want to be in Liverpool? Maybe. You want to be in Bath? You want to be north? Maybe not. It depends on the trade. What is it you're in? Are you a banker? Why would you want to be a banker not in London? What? If you're a banker in America, where do you want to be? New York. Is New York the Shangri-La of the world? No, it's not. It's a great place, but it's not like the ideal city of the planet. But New York is where the action is. Frankfurt for finance, Milan, Italy, Tokyo, Shanghai, Hong Kong. They all have their pluses and minuses. You have to decide for yourself. UK, London. Sorry, that's where you got to go. Now, you want to be a salmon fisherman? You want to be I don't know what trade you can really benefit in Northern England. There, I'm sure, are many in Northern UK great trades, but they're not being brought in. They weren't being brought in from overseas. They didn't need them. There weren't enough jobs up north, as you were saying. The North needed investment. I agree with that. Well, certain regions of Canada need investment. Certain regions in the United States desperately need investment. Where I am here in Palm Desert, California, 25 miles out of town from here, desperately needs investment. Where I am here, I am surrounded by more wealth than you can ever imagine. You have no idea how high the demographic is where I am within 5 miles of this condo. It's unbelievable. There are $50 million homes, part-time homes here. There are $20 million homes, $10 million homes, $5 million houses that are used 3 months of the year, 5 months of the year. And they sit the rest of the year with caretakers to take care of them. The wealth here is unimaginable. 25 miles out of here, the total poverty, total devastating poverty. It is a day and night scenario. You got to come down here to see it for yourself. You cannot believe it. It's amazing. Anyway, there you go. Such fun, such fun, such fun. What else is going on here? Brexit has thrown the UK decade culture world's economic decline. There's now a majority rejoining according to polling. Got it there. Yeah, we did that. Rubbish. BP, come to Sheffield. You will see funded by the EU signs all over the place. BP, Uncle Bruce, London is not the UK. 9 out of 10 people in London are not English, Welsh, Scottish, Irish. English is not the first language in London. Welcome to the new world. Welcome to Calgary. Come to my town in Calgary. 1.5 million people. You want to see language changes? Oh my God! You want to go to Vancouver, British Columbia? 4 million people in the area. The folks there say this isn't Vancouver anymore. We've completely changed out. Toronto, one of the largest immigrant populations in all of Canada, if not the world. The percentage of people living in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, of which 6 million, 8 million people, immigrants from dozens of countries. It is the new normal. You cannot go back to what London once was 50, 60, 80 years ago. Those days are over. Berlin is not the same. Paris is not the same. Madrid is not the same. The world has completely changed out, except for the odd spot where dictators rule supreme. You might have the old ways still around. But then again, do you want to move to some of these countries and hang out in that kind of totalitarian that kind of world? I can't even get my words out anymore. In any event, London, what makes London so great is its diversity, but not for the old timers. They don't like it. I can tell you that Calgarians, there are Calgarians from the 50s and the 60s who hate their city today. And then there are those who just got here 5 years ago and they cannot believe how inclusive Calgary is to new cultures. It's unbelievable. And my daughter is 34, born in Calgary, and she has friends who have come to the city, her parents from around the world, and she's just absorbing it And it's just the new normal for her, because in 40 years, she'll be in her 70s and I'll be long gone. We'll all be long gone. And she will be getting ready to exit herself as the next generations have moved in and moved forward. We're always changing out, but this old world, old ways, forget about it. That's gone. It's not coming back. I'm sorry, it's just not coming back. Anyway, what else is going on? What's the population of Calgary? About I would say the entire metropolitan is like 1.5 million. When I moved into Calgary in '77, 420,000 people. And at that time, it was a booming city. They were adding 15, 20,000 people a year at that time. And the talk was, where are we going to put everybody? I mean, this town used to be 250,000. We're now at 430,000 people. They're saying 600,000 in the next 10 years. Where are they going to go? You fly into town, on a jet, and you look out the window, and there's land, farms all around the city, ranches all around, flat land, land everywhere. No problem. Calgary is one of the largest cities in the world by acreage, by square mile. It's one of the largest cities on the planet for square miles. There's a downtown core with high rises. Oh yeah. But then the suburbs are flat. They're all single story, 2-story houses. Quite amazing. Uncle Bruce, thank you. Uncle Bruce, try coming to Burnley, Oldham, Bradford, Middlesbrough, Carlisle, Blackpool, and see the poverty, lack of jobs. That's why Brexit is so controversial. I hear you. Brexit was never designed to be an employer of the world. As far as I'm concerned, Brexit was built in to be an economic disaster for the UK and parts of the European Union. It was when you separate two great cultures and consumers from each other with paperwork, you screw it up, and that's all there is. So pushing London's extremely bad. Too bad. Too bad. That's where the world wants to go. Stop the world. Good luck. Good luck stopping the world. Right now, London is no longer the leading economic banking center anymore. It's been usurped by Frankfurt and Paris. I think Paris has outdone Frankfurt even, which I find unbelievable. I can't believe Paris would outdo London. But there's a lot of bankers that have left London, or a lot of organizations that are downsizing their London operations and are moving elsewhere. Brexit has been a job killer, even in London. And for the UK, it's costing them taxes. Oh my God, is it costing? Sorry, Curtis Savage. I think it's fascinating how states, countries that are inclusive and are changing the times by adding immigrants and building bridges have so much more wealth than places like Mississippi and Russia. Well, I can tell you that in Canada, the big election issue, one of them back in about a decade ago, we were witness to the first time that Justin Trudeau was leading the Liberals in a federal election, and the existing Prime Minister, Stephen Harper, was leading the Conservatives, and he had been the Prime Minister for 10 years. And the two sides, you couldn't believe the difference. In Western Canada, it's Conservative territory. And Harper, the Prime Minister, was saying, well, we're going to allow in 5,000 to 10,000 Syrian refugees over the next several years. And Trudeau was saying, we're going to allow in 20,000 to start, and we'll bump that number up, especially families, entire units, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa's children. We're going to let them all in, because for them to stay in the country, they have to learn English. They have to get their Canadian citizenship. They have to get their residency. They have to pass all the background checks, blah, 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 blah. And there are millions of Syrians, millions who are displaced, hardworking, entrepreneurial. This is exactly what we need in this country. And they're young. They got mom and dad with 5 kids. We're not having kids. We've stopped having kids. We got to bring these people in here. The Ukraine, open book. limitless number of Ukrainians can come to Canada. No limit. The largest Ukrainian population in the world outside of Ukraine, Canada. Huge. And do they have family values? Massive. Are they a problem in Canada? No. We're bringing in these young, software developing, high tech skilled kids that are getting kicked out of Ukraine or not going to stay there with the Russians about to make them work. Are you kidding me? They're coming to Canada, and Canada is wise to bring them in. Very wise to bring them in. We just created a whole new group of taxpayers. Massive. Yeah, the first few years you have to compensate to bring them in and absorb them. Yeah, of course, it's an investment. But for the next 4 generations of families and kids and grandkids and great grandkids and investors and property owners, car buyers, furniture buyers, food, the businesses they're going to create, it's unbelievable. The Vietnamese boat people added more wealth to America and Canada than you could ever have imagined. The amount of money that was generated to the tax department of Canada and the United States from Vietnamese boat people who came in with nothing except one thing, a work ethic that was unstoppable. It's been amazing. But the right wingers don't want to hear it. Oh, no. They're not pure white people. We don't want to. We can't glorify these folks. Oh gosh, no. But you tell me. There are some very wealthy families in the United States of multicultural background and in Canada, and they are job creators. But hey, you want to close your country off to the way it was in the Second World War and the First World War? Great. But you know what? Certain countries like the UK, Ireland, Canada, United States, Germany, Russia, all of these countries had massive immigrant problems back in the early 1900s, and the racism was just ridiculous back then. But in the 1800s and the 1900s, the early 1900s, the big problem in New York was the Italians, the Irish, the Russian, all the immigrants that were coming into the Northeast USA were all problems. They were all, oh, we shouldn't let these in. We should cut them off. We should just cut them off. We should cut them off. And today, the Italian community in London the Italian community in New York is celebrated. The Irish community in New York is celebrated. A U.S. president going to Ireland today is a very popular trip for a president to make back in America, let alone coming to Ireland and greeting those folks. Back in the USA, it plays well in the polls when a president of the United States goes to Ireland for a state visit. That wasn't the case in the 1800s. Oh, no. They were the mafia. They were the worst of the worst. Those people used to say. It's amazing. It just changes. It evolves. It never stops. It won't stop. I'm sorry. In 30 years, there will be other nationalities that will be the problem. And it just continues on. And it's just the way we are. Yeah. Can I solve it? No. Can you solve it? I don't think so. It's just part of the world. EU separation occurred because Brussels controlled all UK laws, not Brexit. Brexit was the result of a majority of the UK people having enough of the rich South and Brussels screwing the rest of us. I don't think so. That was a popular conception for Brexit supporters, those who wanted out. But those UK folks who owned the villas in Spain and were looking to retire there, those UK EU people who wanted to come to Britain and work and build businesses, they were the minority. And the vote was within a percentage point, if I recall. It wasn't a vast majority of the UK that wanted to do this. It was a sliver that passed it. And now there's buyer's remorse all over the place. Again, not with the hard right. There's never remorse there. Fair enough. But on the outside looking in, disaster. Just a disaster. I credit Savage. Just have a look at California. We have the 5th largest economy in the world. Endless restaurants with Michelin stars. Businesses springing up everywhere. if you're conservative, don't you want money? The thing about California is that there's an entrepreneurial spirit in this state, just like everywhere else in America, and they find ways to work around the problems, and they just do. It's unbelievable. Susan Shops about Sweden not happy with their immigrant situation. They had hoped Syrians would have learned Swedish and language, contribute to society. It's not happening as planned. Swedes now resent supporting them. Well, you either double down or you don't. Again, I can't speak for individual countries. I'm just a Canuck, homeless Canadian myself. So sorry, I don't want to make you mad. Hope you're enjoying the chat, but I'm not here to anger anyone. I'm just giving you my humble outside opinion. And again, your views are yours. And if you're right, you're right. If I'm right, I'm right. And we're both wrong. We're both wrong. We're both right. We're both right. It's okay. It's all right. Credit Savage, not to mention how patriotic most immigrants are. Their kids love the USA and are always enlisting in the Army or Marines. Yet the others that just say they love the country never serve. How odd. BP, immigrants took UK jobs. Okay. TJ, Credit Savage, they commit less crime as well. I agree. It's strange. BP, it's not about racism. It was the lack of jobs in the north of the UK, Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland, and jobs being created in London and given to immigrants. Well, the big complaint in America is that all these immigrants would come into the United States and take away all these jobs from Americans. And you talk to the business people out there and going, well, actually, the jobs that the immigrants are taking are the jobs we can't fill. Janitorial jobs, entry-level, jobs that we can't get an American to take. We have high school kids in the United States that will not pick up a broom and work for $15 an hour doing a hallway. They won't do it. They look at that as a loser job. We got high school graduates, college graduates who want to start as the vice president of operations. It's the entitlement is just beyond. Of course, this has been an argument in Canada forever. I'm probably everywhere. There are those who are perceived to be hard workers and will do anything to get in and go from there. But when you come from privilege, you are privileged. You behave in a privileged way, and sometimes that can work against you. It just doesn't always work out. Credit Savage, Susan, I saw a documentary on that. I think the problem is that they gave a timeline for people to learn a language, assimilate, not taking PTSD into account or using Arabs to teach the language. Big mistakes. BP, Uncle Bruce retiring to Spain were mostly rich Southerners. Yeah, of course. Poor, unemployed Northerners aren't going anywhere. That is correct. Poor, unemployed Native Canadians aren't going anywhere. Poor, unemployed Americans in Chicago are not going to buy a $10 million condo down here in Palm Desert. That is correct. That is absolutely, but it is not the fault of hardworking immigrants coming into a country trying to find a job. They didn't create the unemployment in the North. North has always been having issues. Indian reservations in Canada, the United States, are a basket case. Mexican American communities in the USA, some are very, very well run, and some are not. That isn't the issue of new immigrants coming in. It's not their issue. You're trying to survive here. Again, there's no right or wrong here. It's just life in general. Credit Savage, I see it like this. If an immigrant doesn't speak the language, has limited skills, and PTSD takes your job, you may have been the problem, and you may need to add some skills to your repertoire. Splair, when you say Canuck to someone with something Islamic or it wouldn't end well. Canuck. BP, okay, let's get something right. The vote went 54% to 46%. When you look at the Democratic results, people like most were 46% in South Boroughs, the Democrats for leave was across the whole of England, Wales, Scotland, Ireland. It says something for Brexit. Well, again, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but as I recall, it was a very close vote. I don't recall it to be this far apart. But again, it doesn't matter. The deed is done, and the fallout has not yet happened to its entirety. Another 10 years, you'll know. And I'm just on the outside looking in going, hey, what can I say? Love the clinched conservative talking points are the same as the US and the UK apparently for the past 50 years. Blair, and to be honest, there are countries that make it easy to start a new life. Netherlands, for example, you meet once a month. A native helps to get used to the language. M. Grant, you can participate in a global economy without giving up sovereignty. Blair, but there are countries like Poland where you won't come very far if you're anti-Catholic. It's just a different culture and hard for newcomers that are our neighbors. Bama Babe, only the strong and the adaptive survive. The adaptive survive. Period. Look, there are countries in the world where none of us are welcome. There are countries in the world that certain religious people are not welcome. There are countries in the world, certain backgrounds are not welcome. Well, welcome to the world. Nothing's changed. That's been the same forever. It's not going to change in the next 5 years. But what has changed is that this world we're in now, in a funny kind of way, you don't have to move depending on, again, where you are, what you're capable of doing. For some of us, we don't have to move to have a better life. We can take our skills now with us anywhere on the planet, again, within maybe 50 countries or 80 countries, not every single specific country in the world, but there are many of us who are skilled, who can take our skills with us virtually and can make a living where we are from somewhere else. Internationally, it has gone that far already. It is absolutely incredible what's happened in the last 5 to 10 years. This invention right here has changed mankind. Probably 2 billion of the world's population, their lives have completely changed because of this. Another 2 billion will soon join the party, and another 2 billion after that. This has changed mankind, this big ass iPad, a computer in this kind of a format. Are you kidding me? Jen has hers with her keyboard attached to it. That's a full-blown computer that fits in her purse, for crying out loud. This laptop I'm using here to talk to you right now. The camera in here is a nothing burger. The software to let me do this is a nothing burger. This computer just allows me to do so much more with my life than I could ever have imagined when I got my first desktop in 1993. I thought, wow, a desktop computer in my own house with dial-up internet. Oh, am I in the world? Am I in a whole new world? That changed my life. This has completely changed my life again. And I'm old. I'm 67 and it's changed my life because I've allowed it into my life and I've tried to adapt to it. It's incredible. And my daughter's world, my goodness, my daughter's world is going to be continually changing out dramatically throughout the rest of her lifetime. She's now 34-ish, prime of her working years for the next 10, 20 years. Good Lord, her potential is endless, absolutely endless. And she is dealing with people in various countries to do what she does. Unthinkable 15 years ago, even 12, 10 years ago. It's almost unthinkable. It was the future then. It is the present now. It's incredible. And so, yes, there are refugees out there with nothing. Okay, I get it. There are refugees with nothing. They need a break somewhere. And certain countries will allow immigrants in. Many countries will not. I get it. And there are countries where they come in and they're not welcomed by a percentage of the country. I get it. I experienced that firsthand. I was a little kid in 1960, 61, 62, and 63 in Canada. And my mom and dad were from Europe. And they were not born in Canada. My father was born in Lithuania, my mother in Germany. And I was looked upon as one of those Nazi kids because my mother was German. That automatically made me persona non grata with a certain percentage of my classmates. I was the enemy because on television, Germans were the bad guys. Unbelievable. It took a long time for that to fade down. But go to the movie theaters today, and you'll still see the Second World War Germans are the bad guys. And I had my fun as a kid. Believe me, I had a whole bunch of laughs until I was large enough to take care of myself. Thank God. Welcome to the world, man. Welcome to the party, pal. It blows my mind that I can travel to Europe and land in Heathrow be in downtown London in an hour. A few days later, I can take a train under a tunnel under the channel to Europe. I can end up in Berlin in an hour and 15-minute flight from Heathrow. I can be in Austria. I can be in Switzerland. I can be in Italy. I am blown away by that because of my parents' past, my parents' world in the 40s when they were kids, when they were teenagers. The difference that they had versus what I have, and now my daughter's world, it's incredible. I think it's better. I think it's a lot better than it was at one time. But you know what? The world is evolving, kids. And if you don't get with the program, the world will stomp on you because you either adapt or die. That is it. It's the world in business. That's the code in business. Adapt or die. Your bankers will walk out on you. Your shareholders will walk out on you. Your customers will walk out on you. Adapt or die. And in the world of mankind, it might be a better thing that we adapt rather than try to kill ourselves. Maybe that's the better way to go. But good luck convincing everybody, because there are people that are unconvincible. And there it is. Welcome to the party, everybody. I'm so glad you're here. Anyway, what can I say? Trying to do the best I can with what I can do here. There you go. Lorraine came from Guyana in the late 60s, started off at $3 an hour. Now she has a home value of $2.3 million. U.S. love immigration. They work hard and take the jobs that other people don't want. Let's see. Like we said, Brexit is very toxic. Exactly. It and many other things like it are very toxic. I can get my computer to work. It's not working here. It doesn't want to let me. There's the comment. Susan shops about. My grandmother was an immigrant in the 1990s and came with a flood of Arabic immigrants. She was the only one in her neighborhood able to speak English. She was popular, though the neighborhood said she knew too much. Anyways, I think with Uncle Bruce's lessons on financials, we build up. It is no matter where we live, as soon as we get Wi-Fi. Lorraine, my mother came in the late 60s. JR, the BS here. The BS here is California, is that immigrants take jobs from Californians. However, the immigrants do the work that the rest of the Californians won't do, like field work, housekeeping in hotels. JR, you got it. They come here wanting to be prosperous and happy just like the rest of us. I agree. Bama, JR, and a little more safer as well. There you go. Susan, oops, my grandmother migrated in the 1900s, not 1990. In the 1900s, laughing out loud. Bama, babe, laughing out loud. TJ, hi, Bruce. Those desktops were like 50 pounds too. Oh, God, they were huge. Yeah, those giant monitors. And then the box, the tower. You remember the tower? And all the cables and oh, yeah. And then they had the cable into the phone line. And eventually we would snap it into the wall for the cable. Oh, yeah. Splair, JR, do you mean with here, U.S., California, at least both countries are built from immigrants? Coyote, people complaining about immigrants taking their jobs. Welcome to capitalism, buddy. Someone will work for less. The business will always take it. That's true. But, farms in Canada, the government of Canada has for decades allowed farm organizations, like groups of farmers in various provinces. They've allowed them to charter airplanes full of immigrant workers from Mexico who are pre-screened before they get on the plane, passports checked, criminal records checked. They come to Canada every year for 8 weeks, 12 weeks during harvest time to work. And they fly them up, they accommodate them, they feed them, they employ them. They then send them back home, fly them back home, all cleared with the government of Canada, all cleared with each province that they work in. And the farmers say to the government every year, we can't get a Canadian to do this work. We cannot get them. Now, if the Canadian judicial system would allow prisoners who are, serving 10-year sentences, non-violent, let's say, non-murderer type prisoners, to work on farms during harvest for money, that might alleviate the problem. The problem is the logistics of this, getting him out of the prison and getting him into the fields and then getting him back to the impossible, and politically impossible to have your neighborhood surrounded by convicts picking peach trees or apple trees or whatever the hell the job is. No. It's much simpler and much more convenient to fly immigrants in from Mexico, Guatemala, Costa Rica, wherever, into Canada, over America, just fly them in nonstop and let them work at these jobs. What do these folks want to do at the end of 12 weeks, 14 weeks? They want to go home. They don't want to stay in Canada. Why? It's going to get cold in a couple of months, really cold. We got our dough. We've wired it home to our wives and children, our grandparents and our cousins. We're going back to Mexico. See you next year. That's the deal. Now, if America were to process immigration in such a way that it was a work permit immigration program, not to become an American, you would allow Mexicans in and out to cross the border freely to the jobs that they have. The immigration officers at the border would just be job verification centers, really. It could be all redone to work that way. And if you allow Mexicans to come and go as they come in, work, and leave, come in and work and leave, you wouldn't have people hiding in America, fearful of being caught, because they're not afraid of being caught. They're not going to get caught for something illegal. They're coming into work. They're doing jobs that businesses in the United States can't fill with qualified Americans. Why? Not enough children being born to childbearing aged Americans. And middle-class Americans do not want their kids to grow up to become a janitor at a meatpacking plant, or to become a slaughterhouse guy, or to be this job, or to be that job, a fruit picker, a harvester. They don't want kids to take the jobs that get their fingernails dirty. That's the American psyche of many middle-class Americans. And so there are millions of jobs, I mean millions of jobs, that cannot be filled by corporate America, that need to be filled to fulfill the lifestyle of the middle class and upper middle class American. But the country can't get its act together to allow them in and then get them back out. There are programs in place here and there, but it's a hodgepodge, screwed up system. And when you're a desperado and you got nothing, you'll risk everything. You will risk everything for your family to make it work. And so there are people crossing the border, shouldn't be doing it, and they're doing it, and they're hiding, and they're sending money back, and they're, as long as they can do it, they're going to keep doing it. It's unbelievable. But again, there is no simple answer to the problem. There is none. There will never be a simple answer, because in politics, if I know that if I run for this party and I slam the guy or girl that's in office now, that I want that office, I will say whatever I need to say to get them so in trouble that I get the votes. And then I'm going to keep pumping that message that got me elected to my local constituents. Because remember, a congressman only runs in their district. They don't run nationally for their seat, only in their town, community, counties. What's the hot issue here? I will get elected here every 2 years to stay in power. And that's what your opposition wants to do to you. And so are you here to solve national problems? No, you're here to solve regional problems. Well, one region's problem has no bearing 500 miles away in this state over here. They don't care about your problem. They got their problems. Now you got 535 or 550 representatives, whatever the number is, in Washington, all with their own agendas. Now try to find unity. Good luck. Good luck with that. It's a system. It is a system, and that's the way it is. Anyway, there you go. JR, Bama Babe, exactly. The economy of California, the fifth largest in the world, would be brought to its knees if there was no immigrants harvesting produce. M. Grant. TJ, and that was just a monitor. Remember those? Susan Shops about JR. I agree. Immigrants come most part as poor of the poor. The U.S. public school system has done an outstanding job. A lot of children immigrants now are doctors, dentists, professionals. BP, Uncle Bruce, you have made the mistake of saying Brexit was all about immigration. That was one part of it, but the major part was the Brussels controlling UK and all the benefits going to the Southerners and none to the Northerners. Splair, I remember during vacation time when I was trying to polish school. First question from other students: are you feeling yourself as a German or Polish coming to school, or a Polish that lives in Germany? Are you a Polish person or are you a German? What do you feel, Jr.? Splair, I'm only making reference to the U.S., but I can imagine that people immigrating to any other country want the same kinds of opportunities and prosperity. Splair, so I can somehow understand Uncle B. Bama, babe, love it, adapt or die. Credit Savage, you guys have to watch this one movie called A Day Without an Immigrant. It's an eye opener. Coyote, it used to be easier. Eh? It used to be so much easier. BP, conservatives, conservationists privatizing resources and all benefits going to the South. When we started this, we were talking North Sea oil and gas, which is privatized by the UK government without being voted on by the people. Splair, JR, okay, I was thinking right, and that in that case, I agree with you. Still, I think my opinion is easier to relocate. It's easier to relocate into an immigrant's paradise rather than a country that is always there when it is. I'm not sure what he's saying. Alex, BP, you are running the debate of 2016. Let me ask you this: 6 years later, what is your favorite benefit of Brexit? Perhaps you could share your top 5 right now. Credit Savage, if it wasn't for immigrants, we would not have Apple, Microsoft, Tesla, and most banks. I agree. True. BP, Alex, bringing the laws into UK hands to be voted for by the UK citizens. That's our number one thing. Susan, immigrant life is not easy. Boston, New York City, Philly saw it during the industrial times. Irish and Italians jostling for jobs, physically brawl with each other, carve territorial rights in cities, survival. Credit Savage, if it was not for immigrants, we would not have bagels. Scary thought, no bagels. Obama, babe, it will be AI taking most laborious jobs before too long. Oh, I can see just the world in 200 years if I could just see it. Alex, we're laughing, crying. JR, my first desktop was a Trash 80 Radio Shack TRS 80 that had 2 5.25-inch floppy disk drives. We thought we were very upscale when we got a 40 megabyte hard drive. Wow, have things ever changed? M. Grant, I'm all for reasonable immigration, but it's also how the fat cats keep wages so low. BP, Alex, you're either a Southerner or a Manchesterner. BP, and how has this improved your life? Being able to vote your own laws. BP, wrong and wrong. Splair, life in the 10, 15 years from now will be already interesting. Thanks to Uncle Bruce and the wealth we get, it'll be easy to send a bunch of Tesla bots working while writing options instead of others working probably only remote. At least there's a lot of working spaces that are not even created yet, but our kids will hear of them for sure. BP, Alex, it has improved my life with allowing my children's generation to be able to control their own country and laws, not a centralized dominion of the EU. Susan shops about. Credit Savage, reason why we have Boeing high success in medicine is because the U.S. government let in highly educated Germans, Nazis, after World War II. Germans had advanced technology back then. NASA, rockets, yeah. BP, Alex, okay, where are you from? Credit Savage, M. Grant, is that why Arkansas, Mississippi, West Virginia, South, North Dakota, Idaho, Wyoming, and other our states keep wages so low? Mississippi is a you know what hole? I've been there. It's like the 1800s. Bama babe, I will be whatever I have to be to make money and stay in power. Politicians' motto. M. Grant, true that, Bama babe. Alex, BP, your children have lost the right to live and work in 27 neighboring countries. Our economy is failing. Soft power lost. The next generation will rejoin for sure. It's just a matter of time. Dude, I might add to this with my 2 cents. Reagan and Thatcher era austerity policies continued by Blair and Clinton have led us to where we are today. I love political rants. Vilbus, growing up in Texas, it was clear that immigration was vital, but a much better system is and was needed. Susan shops about. Sad today, there was news reported that some meat plant is under investigation for using immigrant children to use toxic chemicals to clean heavy metal machines. This is still going on in 2023. Alex, BP. Anyway, I agree with you on North Sea oil, a generational opportunity lost. M. Grant, you can still move forward around Europe. Stop the hyperboil. Splair, I was meaning with it that it's easier to relocate into a country where the natives are still well, immigrants after 3 to 5 years, probably no one can see if you're native or not. R.I.P. Radio Shack, says Coyote. Alex M. Grant, I said live and work and not move around. Yes, you can still go on holiday. BP, Alex, why would my children want to live and work in the 27 neighboring countries? I don't think Northerners' next generation will vote to rejoin the EU. Well, again, I don't know. I don't know what the future is 20 years or 30 years from now. I have no idea. I can't say any less. I just want to say thank you all for being here today. I'm past my 2-hour allocation. Thank you for, I hope, some thumbs ups. 194. I don't know if there's 6 more in there to get to 200. Too many people hating what I'm talking about, perhaps. I don't know. Thank you so much for being here and being part of the channel today. I hope you're enjoying way it's going. I hope those of you out there are finding it going to be a good day for you. Let's hope that Matterport later today will bring out some really cool figures and stats and indications, and let's see what happens. Look at the markets. We're down now. The Dow is off 47 something points, so we are in the red, as I suspected we might end up. We are looking at ME at 257.5, up a half a penny. GameStop is up 4 cents to 20.70, near its lowish range of the day, I suppose. Let me just punch this in here. The high was 21.19, the low 20.50, and we're at 20.70 right now. Bed Bath Beyond down a dime, 154. ATIP 38.1, down 1.4 cents. Tesla 193, down 365. SoFi 654, up 12 cents. Apple down 75 cents. HBQ up 16. Cyxtera down 3. Google down 29 cents. Moderna down $2 at 158. Cisco down 66 cents to 49.03. Pfizer up 2 cents. IBM down 88. Microsoft down 38. Rocket Lab is up 2.5. Matterport is up 3. SmartRent down 8.5. Spire down half a penny. Amazon up 180. Home Depot up 295. We got Netflix down 110. Spire, our Vanek Vectors down 131. Sorry, Adobe up 398. Goldman down 150. Boeing up 26. Meta down 117. Pretty mixed bag around here. We've got Target up 142. JP Morgan down 90. Costco up 97. Walmart down 237 today. Disney down 34 cents. Nvidia down 135. American Airlines down 14 cents to 15.55. That is what we have on this market. A 32-point drop on the Dow at the moment. We've got S&P down 7. We have NASDAQ down 9. Oil down 155 to 74.81 on a down day that we see at the moment. Will it continue down? Will it really accelerate? We'll find out. But the dead cat bounce came and went. And it's all over. And now here we're at 10:45 Eastern time with, at this point, a mixed bag market. We'll watch this, obviously, going forward. Join me at 3 o'clock Eastern time. I'll be back on. And don't forget tonight, if you're a Gold Bagel member of this channel, I will be on the air tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern for prime time live for Gold Bagel members. 204 thumbs ups are now officially in the house. Thank you so much, everybody, for helping out, getting me to this level today. Manager number 197, thank you. Coyote, good show. Uncle Bruce, M. Grant, appreciate the healthy debates. All remain civil. Thank you. Why don't you need my phone number when I buy batteries? I think that is a Seinfeld-ism. Larry, there's still Radio Shack open where I'm from, not where I live, but where I was born in Southern Maryland. Alex, M. Grant, yes, quite an achievement when the B word is mentioned. Splayer, just in case you all have a relaxed day, it was interesting and enjoyable session. Manager, make sure to send the email to everyone, Uncle Bruce. I'll try. I try. Zeta State, thumbs up, number 205. Thank you, my friend, for that. Splayer, primetime after Matterport earnings will be great. We'll look forward to doing that later today. Let's hope for some good stuff. And Zeta State saying it all right there. Neat. Thank you all for being part of the show today. Hanging out with your pal, Uncle Bruce. Try to be your pal. It's not easy being your pal. I want to be your pal. Let the boy be your pal. Thank you all. Join me later today for the 3 o'clock Eastern time show. In the meantime, enjoy the knee emojis and keep your eye on these markets and make them do what they need to do for you. We have a 206 thumbs up show going right now. Thank you all for that. Manager, I don't think Bruce can control the problem. Check the community tab for the channel. Big E is here. Splair, D.H. Ruda, here come the knee emojis. Alex is here. Cred Savage is here. Thank you, guys. Knee emoji attack is underway. Thank you all very much for your support of this lonely YouTuber in little old destitute Palm Desert, California, where he's just trying to make a life for himself through the cruel and vicious winter that he's facing. Thank you, everybody. I'll see you guys later today at 3 o'clock Eastern time. In the meantime, this is Bruce and Auntie Jen from Palm Desert saying thank you for your support. We'll see you later today. Have a good one. Bye for now.